well. That's not exactly what I would call the most encouraging name for a channel, whose video is about to attempt to explain where all the evidence for God has gone. It's alright, just go stand over there by that well, it's in the bottom. Just look down, and then boom, you're going, never to be seen again. And if Mrs. It comes looking for me, guess where she is now?
She's in the well.
I think what most people get wrong when speaking of God
is starting because you are immediately presented with 8 bajillion different versions of concepts, all contradictory to at least some, if not most of the others. And all you have to go on for which one is correct are the words of people incentivized to get you to believe theirs over the others. And your own likely brain malfunctioned induced experience of whichever one you have spent a vast majority of your time hearing about. Or a completely new one that no one else is likely to think is the right one either. I suggest just worshipping me, because all I ask is that you leave me alone and possibly send me whiskey.
Is to imagine God as a big being.
See, I told you, even he agrees. Now, by big, you mean fat, right? And boom, I'm your guy. Anyway, yeah, the universe is a really, really big place. Their guy, if he's not at least got fairly long legs, it's gonna take him ages to get down to that specialist space shop on Yardrat that sell that tea he really likes. Now, I guess he could drive there, but 600 million light years by car, that's not exactly environmentally friendly now, is it?
I look up in the night sky and I see stars and planets, and look around, I see animals and plants. I see the world of beings, of things.
And the worst thing of all, humans. And yes, you look around and see stuff. Okay, if you existed, but were in a world of nothing, all on your own, then maybe you might have a point that someone or something put you there. But what the hell else do you expect from a universe in which you exist? Other stuff is gonna be there. It would be way weirder if it wasn't like that.
The great mistake is to say, well, he must be the biggest being around. He's the supreme being among the many beings of the world.
Look, I get it. I'm awesome. But honestly, I'm not a god. I'm just an all-powerful cosmic entity that happens to look like a cartoon crusader. I'm just like you. But if instead of a face, you had a series of interconnected eyeballs, and instead of fingers, you had miniature Gary Buseys.
And that's precisely what God is not.
What, real? Yeah, we know. That's why me am do the atheism. But seriously, how do you know it's anything of the sort? Size to an all-powerful being should be whatever the hell he damn wants. If I were God, I would be big enough to be visible at all times, and I would stare at just one dude always until he freaked out and then move on to the next one, never explaining what I'm doing or why. Hey, it's less f***ed up than being invisible and making sure that no one knows you're there, but demanding that they somehow do. I'm only f***ing with one guy at a time. He's literally f***ing with billions.
How often atheists, both old and new, will say something like, well, where's your evidence for God?
They do what? How dare they ask for evidence for a thing that you think they should believe and spend a not insignificant amount of time and resources getting them to believe, along with trying to make sure anybody who starts thinking that maybe this is bullshit doesn't get uppity and just leave. That's preposterous. They should just take your word for it, like everyone else in your congregations. Bastards.
If you imagine God as one more big contingent thing among others, well then there's no evidence for that reality.
Yeah, but there's no evidence for any other kind either. Well, any evidence that explicitly demonstrates that idea and could not better be applied to other explanations for whatever you think the evidence you are presenting proves about God or his existence. Most of the time, so-called evidence for God are just arguments and thought experiments anyway. And frankly, they don't actually prove shit.
They're operating out of a scientific framework.
Again, bastards. Seriously, how could anyone want actual proof for claims I make? When I can't do that, it's not fair, damn it. They should just accept various spurious concepts that sound kinda smart until you think about it, and then start tithing like a motherfucker.
But see, if you're looking for God that way, you'll never find him. That's not what he is.
If there's any way to prove God exists, then you won't find it. Well, isn't that extremely convenient for you and yours? Also the sort of thing you might say if something, oh, I don't know, didn't exist at all. It's like if I told you I made good content, but all you could see was my shitty videos. but wait, just believe they're good, and suddenly it's the best content on earth. I mean, I can only assume that's what most of you are doing already.
God is the sheer act of existence itself.
What? Weird. Since you are clearly a fan of the God Boy, isn't your guy anthropomorphized as a dude with wants and needs? And really, this is just the old woo bullshit of God am just the universe / God is nature. And frankly, those are always dumb as shit. Because why not just remove the very idea of God being in that and just have, nature be nature and the universe be the universe? Let alone the fact that if what you say was accurate to Crimsbianity, why the fuck would anyone need to follow it at all?
In and through which all particular things exist.
What's an in and through which? Is it like a sandwich? Because I like those. I would especially like to eat an everything in through which, since that's a great way to maintain my size and thus my de facto important status within the universe.
But people get caught up in misunderstanding God and therefore seeking him in a sort of empirical scientific way.
It's almost like things that exist have a habit of leaving evidence that we can discover and analyze, and things that don't exist don't do that. And don't even start with the "you am seeking God wrong" shit. Plenty of God-loving crime flaps love to talk about how this, that, or the other is evidence for God. Are they doing it wrong? According to them, they found proof of the guy. What makes you think they didn't? Apart from your whole point, but what if they did? That'd shut you up. I almost want them to, just to see your face. And no, they never will, but it would still be funny.
That's not going to work.
Brains. Anyway, are we going to go straight to the God is just a thing that your brain makes up to make you have the good feels? Because didn't they test people's brain while they thought about interacting with God and shit like that? And it activated reward centers of their brain instead of actually a real thing that really happened bit of their brain? Which is weird, because surely an all-power boy, Tri-Omni-Lad, should be able to just talk to you without activating any part of your brain. Because magic. Explain it like I'm smart. Well, if that isn't the most self-aggrandizing shit I ever done heard. Explain it so that when I go, yes, very interesting, everyone will think I had any idea what you said, and also that what you said made any sense, when actually no one knows what the hell is going on. You do know that the whole explain it like I'm 5 / an idiot thing is actually a good way to prove that you understand a concept fully. Because if you don't, you will have great difficulty doing that for a lot of concepts, complicated or otherwise. Oh right, it's Big Think. They do have some fine videos, but sometimes, man, they just disappear completely up their own arseholes, don't they? I mean, how could they not with a name like that? More like Big Stink, am I right?
The theologian Paul Tillich, who was one of the great Protestant theologians of the last century.
How can God exist in a scientific world? Easily. He just has to, exist. Like, seriously, I'm ignoring his theologian shit. I'm sure we'll get to that. But if there is any way to detect God, and I mean any, even if it exists solely in human minds, then he must exist in some state that could be examined given the right circumstances. I mean, even things that exist outside of time and space would have to exist there, and thus are essentially part of nature. And anything that is part of nature is, real, will be subject to scientific reasoning. There's no get out of jail free card here, mate.
He said, the word faith is the most misunderstood word in the religious vocabulary.
What, trust in something in this kind of instance without proof? Not sure how one could misunderstand that. It means I want this to be true, so I'm going to believe it based on literally nothing. And yes, I count your experience of the Lord TM as nothing, because they have this bad habit of being completely undemonstrable.
And I've always felt that's right.
Well, feelings. Why didn't you say so? That's all we need in order to know if things are true and or that they exist. It's such a useful metric, you see, because we all have the same feelings all the time, and that they aren't these extremely weird fallible things that will tell us the exact opposite of reality when it's happening right in front of our eyes. Like how I have never ever needed to fill in a simple but important form that's going to take me 5 minutes tops if I just sit down and do it, and felt that in fact if I do try to do it now, the world will erupt into flames because I'm definitely going to misplace a dot for a lowercase I and thus put it off till the absolute last minute, making the process even more stressful. If I had just done it instead of being a procrastinating dickhead. And now apply that to every single minor thing in your life and you'll know what it's like to have an anxiety disorder.
How do people read faith? Through a scientific lens or scientistic lens. Faith is credulity.
So I had never heard the term scientistic in all my time as a YouTube wise-ass. And would you look at that, it's to do with the completely honest apology chap's favourite, scientism, which, while being a real word, meaning to excessively believe in the scientific method, I always found it to be kind of fucking stupid. I mean, sure, there are things that don't require the scientific method, like, say, philosophy, but the idea of excessive sciencing is kind of ludicrous when it, works. Oh no, that person keeps trying to be correct and understand the world accurately. Somebody stop him! Fuck off.
It's superstition. It's accepting things on the basis of no evidence.
Sorry, no. Faith isn't any of those things, scientism or not. It's thinking something is trustworthy or inspires confidence. I mean, people have faith in the scientific method, for crying out loud. You have to have some degree of it, otherwise you probably wouldn't use it. And to say that it is superstition is just definitionally wrong. You have faith in your superstition. Your superstition isn't faith itself. That would be weird.
It's the way a child thinks. That is not faith. That is indeed superstition, credulity, stupidity.
Your faith is special. You believe, with no evidence, for no reason, in a superstition, likely for fundamentally silly reasons, but it is special and better than everyone else's because it's your faith. And since everyone else is an idiot and you am the big brain smart guy, it is in fact the correct faith that you chose, without any coercion whatsoever.
The church, at its best, is calling people beyond that.
The church at its best. Oh, that is damning with faint praise now, isn't it? And yeah, I just don't see it that way. There's no beyond to religious faith. It's not better than reality, no matter how hard it makes your little pee-pee. In fact, in every metric, it seems to be worse except for one, its ability to make people think they know better than everyone else on Earth. And frankly, that's not exactly what I would call a great trait. Only I get to know better than everyone else, damn it.
We're not satisfied leaving people in a state of pre-rational superstition.
Oh, I'm sure you are not satisfied with whatever the hell that means. Mostly because it's spirit science-esque word salad. And the problem with word salad is much like real salad. Unless there's something of substance to go with it, it's going to leave you wanting for something that's actually worth a damn.
So what's faith then? It's something on the far side of reason, when reason has gone about as far as it can possibly go.
Translation: when you have pushed your ability to determine things via rationality and reason to the point where you cannot yet learn or discover more, you should just start making things up and believe those instead. Because why would you ever be satisfied with knowing all there is to know? Currently, at least. You have to know even more, even if it isn't fucking true.
It looks into a kind of alluring darkness.
I love that alluring bit. That sums it up rather nicely. You don't believe these things because they stand up to any kind of reason. You believe them because they are alluring you, because they sound good, and the idea of them being true is very appealing. So you decide it must be, because at the end of the day, we can't yet prove it's not true, so I can believe whatever the hell I want. And I guess not, but you're not going to be convincing me with that kind of rhetorical bullshit. I like my facts to be true for everyone, not just for me and my mates.
Faith in a way is like that. The full presence of God is such that it overwhelms the mind.
Overwhelms it into thinking and saying and doing a bunch of incredibly stupid shit. Sometimes harmless, sometimes incredibly fucked up, but never not motivated by spurious logic, undetectable evidence, and a complete lack of anything one might refer to as sense. Yes, I am being a dickhead, But this guy is so pretentious, I needed to get some venom out before it melted my fucking face.
And of course it does. And that shouldn't be surprising that God, ipsum esse, the sheer act of being itself, the creator of all things, that in whom essence and existence coincide.
Oh my non-existo, that shit is so annoying. Sir Sick, the drunkest drunk, hatred for humanity personified, Sexius Maximus, and so on and so on. You can keep giving me funky titles all day. That doesn't make them true. I mean, they are true, but the act of saying them is just that. Saying something. It's annoying. Stop it.
Is not going to be definable by our minds. It won't fit into our minds.
I mean, people did. They fucking invented it. And you would be amazed at the concepts humans can grasp given the correct context. I mean, imagine the universe. You did it, right? That's fucking huge. That's a thing that you could never ever hope to see even the tiniest fraction of ever. And yet, it's perfectly boilable down into a big spinny sparkly thing. And you said the universe was basically God, so boom, done. Can I go now?
So what does the mind want? Well, it wants the truth.
If it wants the truth, frankly, you ain't getting it out of this guy. You're gonna get a bunch of weasel words and definitions that insist upon themselves, instead of being true because they are true. And frankly, that's more worthless than me trying to convince an apologist to stop being ridiculous. If they weren't ridiculous, they wouldn't be apologists.
Wait, before you go, I have something super important to tell you. It's life or death. It will change everything forever. Nope, wait, it's gone. Oh well, probably wasn't important. But while I have you, don't forget to comment, subscribe and notify. And if you want more of my smexy voice, check out Mrs. Six's channel Spoonstaff Stories, where I narrate and voice all the videos, and she does the work. And if you want to support the channel, check out the merch store for cool t-shirts, or check out Patreon, memberships and PayPal to support directly. Finally, follow me on the medias of social to get completely pointless guff and to keep up on the latest releases. Oh, I just remembered what I was going to tell you. Whatever you do, don't touch the